Here's the expanded Part 1 in approximately 950 words, maintaining a natural, engaging tone. The low hum of the spacecraft's engines vibrated through the metal walls of the crew quarters. June Park had just stepped out of the shower, steam clinging to his skin and fogging up the small mirror. Outside the reinforced windows, the infinite darkness of space stretched endlessly, dotted with distant star clusters that looked like scattered diamonds. It had been 3 weeks since the Intrepid research vessel left Earth's orbit, its mission to explore the outer rim of the Andromeda sector. June, a technical specialist in xenobiology, wasn't expecting anything extraordinary. Most days were filled with routine maintenance, data analysis, and the occasional calibration of sensitive scanning equipment. The ship's environmental controls maintained a perfect temperature, but June still felt the familiar post-shower chill. He reached for his standard-issue towel, a lightweight microfiber material developed by NASA's Advanced Textile Division. Little did he know that this ordinary moment would become anything but routine. A sudden energy disturbance rippled through the quarters. The air felt thick, charged with an electric sensation that made the hair on June's neck stand up. Before he could react, 2 crystalline figures materialized directly in front of him, the Hayuk and Sung, twin diplomatic representatives from the Crystalline Collective. Their bodies were unlike anything humans had encountered before. Translucent and multifaceted, they resembled living prisms that captured and refracted light in mesmerizing patterns. Normally, such a transport would require extensive communication protocols, security clearances, and carefully orchestrated diplomatic procedures, but not today. June stood frozen, one hand clutching the towel, water still dripping from his hair. The alien twins, who had spent decades studying human communication and cultural nuances, were equally paralyzed. Their complex communication systems, designed to process millions of interstellar languages and cultural subtleties, suddenly seemed inadequate. The ship's AI, a sophisticated quantum intelligence named Area, remained silent. Standard first contact protocols suggested immediate communication, but something about this moment defied all standard procedures. Hyuk, the slightly taller of the 2 aliens, began to emit a series of chromatic pulses. These were typically used to convey complex emotional and intellectual states among their species. But right now, they simply translated to pure, unadulterated shock. Sung, his twin, started to vibrate at a frequency that suggested extreme cognitive dissonance. Their research had prepared them for countless human scenarios, but a half-naked human in a personal quarters was definitely not in their comprehensive database. June's mind raced. Years of training in xenobiological interactions, emergency protocols, and diplomatic engagement flooded his consciousness, but in this moment, something more primal took over, a uniquely human trait of confident composure. "So," June said casually, adjusting the towel with deliberate slowness, "I'm guessing this isn't a standard courtesy call?" The alien's crystalline structures began to pulse with increasing intensity. What was happening wasn't just a communication breakdown. It was a complete systemic failure of their understanding of human behavior. Outside the quarters, the Intrepid continued its journey. Distant meteoroid clusters drifted past the ship's advanced sensor arrays. Robotic maintenance drones quietly performed their endless calibrations, completely unaware of the extraordinary moment unfolding inside. June took a step forward. The aliens instinctively took a step back, their refracted light showing clear signs of what could only be described as alien panic. Their quantum communication networks were probably sending urgent, confused signals back to their homeworld. 1. Simple human, 2 advanced alien diplomats, and a moment that would redefine interstellar first contact protocols forever. The universe, it seemed, was about to get very interesting. End of Part 1. Notes on the writing. Maintained simple, natural language. Focused on human protagonist, added sci-fi elements without complex jargon, kept tension and humor, avoided any inappropriate content, used engaging narrative style, focused on character and situational development. Would you like me to proceed with developing the next part with the same approach? Here's the expanded Part 2 in approximately 950 words, The ship's recreation room was typically a quiet space, but today it buzzed with an unusual tension. June had quickly dressed and invited the alien twins to a more formal meeting, hoping to salvage what could only be described as the most awkward first contact in human history. Aria, the ship's AI, had already prepared a comprehensive cultural briefing. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing intricate data streams about the crystalline collective. Their civilization was ancient, over 3 million years old, with technologies that made human advancements look like primitive stone tools. Hyuk and Sung sat uncomfortably at the metallic conference table. Their crystalline bodies seemed to shift and pulse with every movement, reflecting the room's soft lighting in mesmerizing patterns. June noticed how they carefully positioned themselves as far from him as possible, despite the relatively small space. "I assume," June began, sliding a cup of synthesized coffee towards them, "you didn't just pop into my quarters for a social call." The translation device hummed softly. Alien languages were complex, often requiring multiple layers of contextual understanding. What would take human sentences to explain, the crystalline collective could communicate in milliseconds through light and vibrational frequencies. Sung's crystalline form flickered, a response that the ship's translation matrix interpreted as a mix of embarrassment and professional frustration. Their diplomatic training had never prepared them for a human who responded to unexpected encounters with such casual confidence. Outside the ship's reinforced windows, a massive asteroid field drifted by. Robotic mining drones moved with precision, collecting rare minerals that would fuel human expansion across the galaxy. The universe continued its grand dance, seemingly unaware of the diplomatic drama unfolding inside the Intrepid. "Your cultural database," Hyuk finally communicated, "suggests humans should display significant emotional distress during unexpected encounters." June couldn't help but laugh. It was a deep, genuine laugh that seemed to confuse the aliens even more. Their research suggested humans were unpredictable, but this was beyond their comprehensive understanding. The ship's maintenance robots continued their silent work in the background. Mechanical arms calibrated sensors, checked oxygen levels, and performed countless micro-adjustments. They were oblivious to the cross-cultural communication happening just meters away. June leaned forward, his body language deliberately relaxed. "We are not exactly predictable," he explained, taking a sip of his coffee. "That's kind of our thing." The alien twins began to pulse with increasingly complex light patterns. Their communication was a mix of confusion, fascination, and what could only be described as professional panic. Decades of xenological research were crumbling in real time. A distant alarm pinged, a standard notification about a minor gravitational anomaly near the ship's external sensors. But in this moment, it felt like background noise to the real drama unfolding. Sung's crystalline form shifted, reflecting a complex emotional state that the translation device struggled to interpret. It was somewhere between professional embarrassment, cultural shock, and a growing sense of respect. "Humans are different," Hyuk finally communicated, the translation device rendering his thoughts into surprisingly conversational English. June grinned. It was the kind of smile that spoke volumes, part mischief, part confidence, entirely human. The recreation room's environmental controls maintained a perfect temperature, but the tension was palpable. Two advanced alien beings, millions of years ahead in technological development, were being mentally outmaneuvered by a human who had just been caught in a towel. Outside, the vast emptiness of space continued its silent watch. Distant star clusters twinkled, seemingly amused by the unfolding drama. "Different," June repeated, raising an eyebrow. "I prefer to think of it as interesting." The aliens' communication networks were likely sending urgent, confused signals back to their homeworld. This wasn't just a first contact scenario. This was a complete deconstruction of everything they thought they knew about humanity. Thing became crystal clear. Humans were going to be a force to be reckoned with in the galactic community, and it would all start with an awkward towel moment. End of part 2. Would you like me to continue with the same style and approach for part 3? Here's the expanded part 3 in approximately 950 words. The psychological warfare wasn't something June had planned. It was simply a natural human talent, an instinctive ability to remain calm in the most bizarre circumstances. The ship's advanced tracking systems continued their silent monitoring, recording every microscopic interaction between the human and the alien diplomats. Hyuk and Sung found themselves in unfamiliar territory. Their entire civilization was built on precise communication, calculated interactions, and predictable behavioral patterns. June was anything but predictable. The Intrepid's main conference room transformed into an unexpected battleground of cultural understanding. Holographic displays flickered with complex data streams, star charts, biological analyses, and communication protocols dancing around them like silent witnesses to this extraordinary moment. June stretched casually, a move that sent another wave of confusion through the alien twins. In their extensive research, humans were supposed to be nervous, apologetic, or at least somewhat uncomfortable during first contact scenarios. This human was rewriting every single protocol they had studied for decades. Aria, the ship's quantum AI, analyzed the interaction with mathematical precision. Communication patterns, body language, microscopic physiological changes, everything was being recorded and processed in real time. The data suggested something extraordinary was happening. Maintenance robots moved silently in the background, their mechanical arms performing routine checks. They seemed almost curious about the unfolding drama, though their programming prevented any actual emotional response. "So," June said, breaking the tension, "want to talk about why you randomly teleported into my shower?" The translation device worked overtime, converting not just words, but the complex nuances of human communication. Hyuk's crystalline form began to pulse with increasing intensity, a sign of complete cognitive dissonance. Outside the ship's reinforced windows, a massive gas giant slowly rotated. Its swirling storms looked like abstract art against the darkness of space. Distant asteroid mining drones continued their endless work, oblivious to the diplomatic breakthrough happening inside. Sung's communication patterns suggested total system overload. Their research had prepared them for countless scenarios: diplomatic negotiations, potential conflicts, cultural exchanges, but nothing prepared them for a human who treated an unexpected alien encounter like a casual coffee meeting. Jun pulled up a holographic display showing some routine maintenance data. It was a deliberate move, showing complete comfort, complete control. The aliens watched, mesmerized by his casual confidence. The ship's quantum engines hummed softly, a distant reminder of the technological marvel they were traveling in. Generations of human innovation had led to this moment, a spacecraft capable of exploring the deepest reaches of space, carrying a human who could psychologically outmaneuver beings from an ancient civilization. Most species, Hyuk finally communicated, would show fear, confusion, uncertainty. June laughed. It was a genuine warm laugh that seemed to momentarily short-circuit the aliens' complex communication systems. "Where's the fun in that?" he responded. Robotic. Communication arrays began picking up strange transmission patterns. The aliens were sending encrypted messages back to their homeworld. Urgent, confused, almost panicked communications that suggested something unprecedented was happening. The psychological battlefield wasn't about weapons or technology. It was about something uniquely human, an ability to remain calm, confident, and slightly amusing in the most unexpected circumstances. Distant star clusters seemed to twinkle with amusement. The universe, it appeared, was enjoying this unexpected drama. Sung's crystalline form began to show microscopic fractures, a physiological response to extreme psychological stress. They were experiencing something completely outside their comprehension, a human who didn't follow any expected protocol. Aria continued its silent analysis. Mathematical models began to shift, recalculating everything known about first contact scenarios. Humans, it seemed, were going to be far more complicated than any previous galactic civilization had anticipated. June leaned back, completely at Tuz. His casual posture spoke volumes. This wasn't a negotiation, this was a conversation, and he was firmly in control. The maintenance robots continued their endless work. The ship's systems hummed with quiet efficiency. And in the middle of it all, a human was systematically dismantling every known protocol of interstellar diplomacy. One simple gesture, one unexpected response. An entire alien civilization's understanding was being rewritten. The psychological battlefield had a new champion, and his name was June Park. End of Part 3. Would you like me to continue with the same approach for Part 4? Here's the expanded Part 4 in approximately 950 words. The breaking point wasn't a dramatic moment. It was subtle, almost invisible. A slow unraveling of everything the alien twins believed they understood about intelligent communication. Distant proximity alarms chirped softly as the Intrepid navigated through a complex asteroid field. Robotic navigation systems made micro-adjustments, dancing between massive space rocks with mathematical precision. But inside the ship's main conference room, a different kind of navigation was happening. A psychological journey that would redefine interstellar diplomacy. Hyuk and Sung's crystalline bodies began to show microscopic stress fractures. Their communication networks were overloading, processing data that contradicted every single piece of research they had compiled about human behavior. June pulled up a holographic star chart, casually pointing out navigation routes. His finger moved with confident expertise, completely unaware that he was systematically dismantling the aliens' entire understanding of human capability. Interesting sector, he mentioned, as if discussing nothing more significant than weekend plans. We've been mapping these regions for the past few months. The translation device worked overtime, converting not just words but the complex layers of human communication. Confidence, expertise, casual mastery. Aria, the ship's quantum AI, continued its silent analysis. Computational models were shifting, recalculating everything known about first contact scenarios. Humans were proving to be far more complex than any previous galactic model had predicted. Outside the reinforced windows, a massive gas giant slowly rotated. Its swirling storms looked like abstract artwork against the infinite darkness of space. Robotic mining drones continued their endless work, completely oblivious to the extraordinary psychological drama unfolding inside. Sung's communication patterns began to destabilize. Their entire civilization was built on precise, calculated interactions. June was anything but precise or calculable. He was beautifully, dangerously unpredictable. Your navigational capabilities, Hyuk communicated, his crystalline form pulsing with confused energy, suggest a level of technological understanding we did not anticipate. June simply smiled. It was a smile that suggested multiple layers of meaning, part amusement, part challenge, entirely human. Maintenance robots moved silently in the background, their mechanical arms performing routine checks. They seemed almost curious about the interaction, though their programming prevented any actual emotional response. The ship's quantum engines hummed softly, a distant reminder of human technological achievement. Generations of innovation had led to this moment. A spacecraft capable of exploring the deepest reaches of space, carrying a human who could psychologically outmaneuver beings from an ancient civilization. Distant communication arrays began picking up strange transmission patterns. The aliens were sending encrypted messages back to their homeworld, urgent, confused communications that suggested something unprecedented was happening. June pulled out a standard-issue tablet showing some routine mission data. It was a deliberate move, displaying complete comfort, complete control. The aliens watched, mesmerized by his casual confidence. Most species, Sung finally communicated, would show uncertainty, hesitation. June laughed. It was a genuine, warm laugh that seemed to momentarily short-circuit the aliens' complex communication systems. "Where's the fun in that?" he responded. The psychological breaking point wasn't about drama. It was about something uniquely human, an ability to remain calm, confident, and slightly amusing in the most unexpected circumstances. Microscopic stress indicators in the aliens' communication networks were going haywire. Their entire understanding of intelligent communication was being systematically dismantled by a human who didn't even realize he was doing it. Distant star clusters seemed to twinkle with amusement. The universe, it appeared, was enjoying this unexpected drama, Aria continued its silent mathematical analysis. Computational models were being rewritten in real time. Humans were proving to be a fascinating, utterly unpredictable species. The maintenance robots continued their endless work. The ship's systems hummed with quiet efficiency. And in the middle of it all, a human was systematically redefining every known protocol of interstellar diplomacy. One casual gesture, one unexpected response. An entire alien civilization's understanding was being dismantled. The breaking point had arrived, and its architect was named June Park. Somewhere in the vast infinite darkness of space, the rules of first contact were being rewritten. End of Part 4. Would you like me to continue with the same approach for the final Part 5? Here's the expanded Part 5 in approximately 950 words. The diplomatic victory wasn't something June had planned. It was simply a natural consequence of being human, unpredictable, confident, and slightly ridiculous. The Intrepid's main conference room had transformed from a potential conflict zone to something entirely unexpected. Holographic displays flickered with complex data streams, star charts, communication protocols, and cultural analyses dancing around them like silent witnesses to an extraordinary moment. Yuk and Sung's communication networks were in complete disarray. Their entire civilization's understanding of first contact was being systematically dismantled by a human who seemed more interested in making them comfortable than following any traditional diplomatic script. "Coffee?" June asked, as if offering refreshments to old friends rather than alien diplomats who had materialized in his shower just hours earlier. The ship's advanced quantum AI, Aria, was recording every microscopic interaction. Computational models were being rewritten in real time. Humans were proving to be something entirely unique in the galactic community. Outside the reinforced windows, a massive asteroid field drifted by. Robotic mining drones moved with precision, collecting rare minerals that would fuel human expansion across the galaxy. The universe continued its grand dance, seemingly amused by the diplomatic drama unfolding inside. Sung's crystalline form began to stabilize, the initial shock giving way to something approaching respect. Their research had prepared them for countless scenarios, but nothing had prepared them for a human like June. "Your approach," Hyuk communicated, his translation device struggling to capture the complex layers of emotion, "is entirely unprecedented." June grinned. It was the kind of smile that spoke volumes. Part mischief, part genuine warmth, entirely human. Maintenance robots continued their silent work in the background. Mechanical arms calibrated sensors, checked oxygen levels, performed countless micro-adjustments. They were oblivious to the fact that they were witnessing a potential turning point in interstellar relations. Distant communication arrays began picking up the aliens' encrypted transmissions. Their homeworld was receiving real-time updates about this extraordinary encounter. What was supposed to be a standard diplomatic mission was turning into something far more significant. Aria projected a holographic representation of the current diplomatic interaction. Mathematical models showed something remarkable, a complete deviation from every predicted first contact scenario. Humans were rewriting the rulebook, one casual conversation at a time. Most species, June mentioned, casually, would have made this complicated, formal, filled with unnecessary protocols. The ship's quantum engines hummed softly, a distant reminder of human technological achievement. Generations of innovation had led to this moment, a spacecraft capable of exploring the deepest reaches of space, carrying a human who could completely redefine interstellar diplomacy. Sung's communication patterns began to show something unexpected, what could only be described as respect. Their initial fear was transforming into a kind of fascinated admiration. Robotic communication arrays detected strange transmission patterns. The aliens were sending messages back to their homeworld, no longer panicked, but filled with a sense of genuine curiosity about humanity. The diplomatic victory wasn't about winning or losing. It was about something more profound, a genuine connection that transcended technological and cultural barriers. June pulled up a star chart, showing potential collaborative exploration routes. It was a deliberate move, displaying not just confidence, but a genuine openness to cooperation. The aliens watched, mesmerized by his approach. Distant star clusters seemed to twinkle with approval. The universe, it appeared, was enjoying this unexpected dance of diplomacy. We could, June suggested, explore these sectors together, learn from each other. The translation device worked overtime, converting not just words, but the complex layers of human communication. Openness, collaboration, genuine curiosity. Hugh's crystalline form began to pulse with a new energy, no longer defensive, but excited. Their entire civilization was about to experience something entirely new. The maintenance robots continued their endless work. The ship's systems hummed with quiet efficiency. And in the middle of it all, a human was redefining the very concept of first contact. One conversation, one unexpected approach. An entire alien civilization's understanding was being transformed. The diplomatic victory was complete. And its architect was named June Park. Somewhere in the vast infinite darkness of space, a new chapter of interstellar cooperation was beginning. End of Part 5. Would you like me to provide an epilogue, or do you want the story to conclude with this final part?